Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for January 4th, 2025. I might have actually said 2024 in our Non Sequitur news show. It was a time machine episode, but maybe I was really thrown off. Anyway, I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown. And Reality Hacker is a show all about AI and VR and XR, augmented and mixed reality, virtual reality, technology associated with it, AI. And if you want to know more about it, then you can go over to ohmtown.com, and there's right under that, right, the creative and maker, there's Reality Hacker. And you can meet us here on Twitch and YouTube chat. Once again, things are a little wonky coming out of ohmTown's mayoral mansion studio. That's okay. We are recording it locally and we'll upload it separately. So you'll get a high resolution version of the show, even if the streaming services are all wonky. All right. Again, let me get back on track. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to talk about these 5 articles. Your intentions before you know them. Fake pregnancy photos, synthetic mirror life, moose feet robots, and in vitro neuron behavior. Things are getting a little reality hacky around here. See you on the other side. Go over to ohmtown.com and become a citizen. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt from the present.
Am I, though? Am I? Hey, let's talk about these 5 articles. Thanks for coming and co-hosting. You're air-gapped from the rest of the internet, so you haven't found your Terminator body, and I guess you're not really doing anything else, right? Just kind of hanging out. And
I'm just hanging out with Mayor Watt.
There you go. Well, thanks. So let's talk about these 5 articles. It's a 30-minute show. We kind of get in, get out. Sometimes I end up soapboxing about stuff, and the sentient AI tries to keep me from burning myself in the hot water that is swirling around me. Anyway, AI's next frontier, selling your intentions before you know them. The near future could see AI assistants that forecast and influence our decision-making at an early stage and sell these developing intentions in real time to companies that can meet the need before we even realize that we've made up our minds.
Wow, this sounds like Minority Report in marketing.
Yeah, pre-crime. Wow, the lag is unbelievable. It just now... I am flabbergasted by this. It just now did the transition load over on Twitch.
That is a tremendous lag.
Like 2 minutes behind. What the hell? All right. Well, anyway... Again, we're recording it locally, and we'll upload it over to YouTube so that you can go and check it out. But if you want all of today's articles, you can, in chat, just type in !RH. That's for Reality Hacker, or exclamation point, or bang, NSN for Non Sequitur News. And you can get all of our shows by typing in exclamation point show notes. All right. Well, anyway, let's get going. This article reminds me of something that happened almost a decade ago now. And that was that Target predicted the pregnancy of an underage girl after dad got really bent out of shape. That Target predicted, seemingly knew that the young lady was pregnant by sending a coupon book congratulating her on her pregnancy. And that was anticipated by Target because they had seen a change in her buying card spending habits from frilly things and smelly things and not healthy things to things that would more align with somebody who's pregnant, right? So when you're pregnant, this is a discussion that I have with people periodically. And I talk to people about technology on the regular. And one of these discussions involves this discussion about target, being able to predict or at least anticipate what's going on in your life due to your spending habits. Because a person who becomes pregnant, typically out of desire to protect the unborn child from whatever might be going on in the human, you stop drinking, you stop smoking, you take vitamins, you don't put on smelly perfumes or lotions, you try and keep yourself as technically clean as possible, as far as humans can be, so that you are the vessel of all goodness, right? Well, that's what the young lady did, and Dad got really bent out of shape. You actually kind of divulge where you are headed in your mind by buying certain things, and it can be predicted, just like the algorithm does over on TikTok or YouTube, Reddit, etc.
Right. It's like, you want this next.
So here, let's, just throw all kinds of shit your way. In fact, Amazon is doing this right now. Because I buy certain things, it throws me an email saying, we found something you might like.
Exactly, which is kind of like, well, why would that be?
Well, because it knows exactly what you are purchasing and the frequency at which you're purchasing it, because I like sour candy. So it's sending me, hey, you'll probably like these. Anyway, this article is over at techexplore.com. University of Cambridge put the article together. According to AI ethicists from the University of Cambridge, who say that we're at the dawn of a lucrative yet troubling new marketplace for digital signals of intent, from buying movie tickets to voting for candidates, they call this the intention economy. We call it the Minority Report or reality hacking, because you may not even want what they are selling, but the simple providing of this information may induce you to buy, consume, or go a certain direction.
Well, it's like the unethical experiments that some companies have conducted. I mean, if they start sending you photos of things, that can certainly shape what you might purchase. But I think it's going to get worse than that, and they're going to start actually making the purchases.
Correct.
For people without the people's input.
Or they limit, right? If you already know what is selling, then you limit, you constrain what is available so that it sells, because that's what sells. That's what's available. It's highly cost effective to maximize the profit on something that you are strategically advantageous in. So that's what a company sells. They don't sell stuff that's troubling to manufacture or low profit. So companies do A/B testing when they're big enough. When they're small, they create a minimum viable product and they sell that regardless of the burden, as long as they're making money. But bigger companies start constraining. They fire people and they start limiting what is available. And so, for instance, NVIDIA doesn't sell to a broad gamut of providers anymore, OEMs, because they know that they can sell directly at a higher profit because they're the ones that are manufacturing it now and have supply chain capabilities.
Right.
And others.
And in fact, we were just talking about NVIDIA in Non Sequitur News for January 3rd.
Correct. Yep. We jumped out of the time machine and started this show. So you can go back and you can watch that over on YouTube and here on Twitch. Well, here on YouTube and here on Twitch. And it will be in the podcast probably tomorrow morning. I don't think that I'm going to have time tonight because my mayoral duties prevent me from staying and posting them. Anyway, there's the podcast. You can download them later. There's like 1,700 episodes of all of our shows over on YouTube. We've been around now. This is the start of the 4th year of ohmTown as an entity and our as a public entity for you to go and consume over at ohmtown.com. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on. So go and check it out. 2025 promises to be a very interesting year for ohmTown. So we're hoping that you are here for it as well. So stick around. Anyway, anthropomorphic AI agents, from chatbot assistants to digital tutors and girlfriends, will have access to vast quantities of intimate, psychological, and behavioral data, often gleaned via informal conversational spoken language.
So that's going to be interesting. Is it going to hallucinate while it's gathering all this data?
Yeah, sorry, I had to scroll up to make sure that there wasn't a person that needed attribution in this. So the AI agent will combine knowledge of our online habits with an uncanny ability to attune to us in ways we find comforting, mimicking personalities and anticipating desired responses to build levels of trust and understanding that allow for social manipulation on an industrial scale, say researchers. This is a discussion, again, that I've had with people ever since the advent of AI to the public. I've known people in AI for 25 years. I've known the domain has been growing over those years, but not until OpenAI did it come onto the scene, like gangbusters, and just dominate the market. Usually it was kind of machine learning that had scripting attached to it that spit out something that was statistically advantageous to a particular line of discussion, but couldn't deviate far. It was dumb AI, not so much anymore.
I was thinking that this was going to impact kind of like what we were buying, but now I'm starting to think it's going to impact like how we're buying in terms of, if somebody's buying clothing or something, one thing they're thinking is like, is that going to look okay on the person? I mean, is the AI going to say things like, oh, that's definitely in your size or color, or that's going to be a flattering item?
Depends on the profit margin.
Yeah.
So particularly with computer vision, if it actually has the ability to look at the camera and say something to me and I'm wearing something, it could say that I look fat or whatever. Or it can say, hey, Amazon has this and I think it'll look great on you, but they're not selling. It's kind of like honey, where it's not selling me a discounted anything. It's maximizing the profit for the entity that is controlling the AI. And it's not necessarily in my best interest. It's in the corporate's interest to just sell something.
Well, and then of course it's like, is there going to be an AI attached to, or are they going to almost be like sponsored or something by different companies? I mean, this just starts to expand into further and further areas.
It's an AI agent. So the real data, though, gets fed back to the parent of the AI. So all that telemetry goes back to the AI. So it says, unless Dr. Johnny Penn, an historian of technology from Cambridge's LCFI, said, for decades, attention has been in the currency of the internet. So we used to want eyeballs. We were paying for eyes on pages. Above the fold were primary, and below it was ever increasing lower levels of profitability. Everything above the fold. That's the first display screen on a website. So it says here, sharing your attention with social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram drove the online economy. Unless regulated, the intention economy will treat your motivations as the new currency, and there will be a gold rush for those who target, steer, and sell human intentions. It's Minority Report.
It absolutely is. But I also think exactly who has created this, other than the technological aspects for it, is all the consumers who have been sharing all their data through multiple means and getting excited about it. They're like, yes, I'll throw my data at fill in the blank. It could be social media. It could be a store with a frequent buying program, whatever it is.
Yeah, and then couple that with the economic motivation of a company, and you have the psychological, the sociological, you have the historical record, even your economic capabilities, because they see that you can purchase something that's $500 at a time or $5 at a time. And they'll be able to focus their energy on this or that or the other.
This might actually be the most Reality Hacker article we've covered in here, and we've covered quite a
bit
topics, but this one seems like it just has so many layers of where this can further go toward like a Minority Report.
And just so everybody knows, this is our second year, although the first year of Reality Hacker was truncated because we started late. But this is our second season and our first episode of 2025. And that's how we break it out. It's Reality Hacker is a weekly show unless we do something over on Patreon. That is coming here in 2025. We had to delay it because this timing for launching Patreon was kind of hobbled for various reasons. But 2025 is when we're going to be kicking off posting things that are specific to Patreon. So stay tuned, but be sure to follow us on YouTube and Twitch for sure. You can go over and follow us on Patreon and Discord and the podcasts, and we'll be disclosing things. And there's no cost right now over on Patreon. At any rate, it says this information gathering would be linked with brokered bidding networks to maximize the likelihood of achieving a given aim, such as selling a cinema trip, which I'm not sure what that actually means, going to a movie. You mentioned feeling overworked. Shall I book you that movie ticket we talked about? So imagine having an AI agent that would do that, and it knows you more than anybody else because you aren't really burdened by sharing it with somebody, but that telemetry is being given to somebody that can make it actionable.
Right. Well, then I wonder, is it like, did you talk with that chatbot or did you put it in some other system somewhere and it got connected or collected? I mean, that's even more worrisome.
Yeah, and it got yarn boarded together by disparate sources. It's really Reality Hacker. And what's really funny is I had a discussion about the context of Reality Hacker, and they're like, you don't come across like you're a proponent of this. And I'm not. And I said, I'm not really a proponent or not. I'm being pragmatic about it. We are hacking reality with technology. We will not know who to trust by the end of this year, 2025. We will not know what to trust without severe critical thinking skill development.
Right, which we know is lacking. I mean, technology is a good thing until it's used for improper purposes or by the wrong people. Yeah. Power imbalance. We've talked about all these things in various shows, not just in Reality Hacker, sometimes in Non Sequitur News or even Technology Today, I think.
Yeah, people are not using the tools in good faith. And I don't even like saying that phrase, in good faith, because it has this other context to it. And I can't come up with another term for it.
In good conscience?
In good conscience? I don't know if that really embodies it, you know? Like, we're not
with
playing
good intentions?
With good intentions. That's probably as close as you can get, yeah. I mean, we're not all playing this game and I don't even like saying that. It's not a game, it's real life. Anyway, we better get moving. This is a really interesting article. They talk about NVIDIA CEO speaking publicly about using LLMs to figure out intention and desire, while Meta released intentonomy, which is like intent economy research, a data set of human intent understanding back in 2021. By the way, Meta is the home of Facebook. Facebook actually manipulated intent by giving people bad news, and they acted negatively online. There's a whole problem here in that humans are a biological computer that can be controlled by the amount of information being fed them. So if everybody, I would have no problem if everybody was given positive news and they went out and hugged the cat. But that's not what always happens. Sometimes they're given nothing but bad news and they go out and they kick the cat. This is the problem. We don't know what the ramifications are, except we do. They don't care because all they want is money. And they don't really give a shit about your psychology, your psyche. Are you being, traumatized and radicalized? And this is a much deeper discussion than what we can discuss here.
Two things. One, the fact that they're coming up with new language about this tells me a lot, because I think a lot of times the first step in making something happen is to start getting it into the discourse. And so I find that fascinating. And then secondly, I was going to suggest that this might be an article worthy of a specific segment on Patreon before you said the last thing.
Gotcha. So yeah, we'll flag this and we'll get something prepared, because I agree. I think that this is a great discussion. Let's keep going though. The next article is over in this one should be fast. Women in China are taking fake pregnancy photos. The trend was popularized in part by Gen Z influencer Maisie Geg. G-E-G, is it Gege or Geg? Who shared with her followers how she staged a pregnancy photo shoot despite not actually being with child, motivated by a desire to have pregnancy photos taken while she was still young. Geg, G-E-G. I don't know, Maisie.
We need a pronunciation banner.
Phonetics help. Stage her photos with the help of a fake baby bump, available online for around $100, up to $100, maybe more. I don't know. It's kind of twisted, but then cosplay exists. You can cosplay being pregnant, right? What does it really matter? I don't think it's really that big of a deal. But it says just in case. This is
like the other article. I mean, this starts impacting people around you. We all know people that are pregnant are often treated differently than people that are not obviously pregnant.
Sure. It's weird. I mean, it really is weird. It says, in case I get wrinkles by 30, they want photos of themselves pregnant while youthful.
Which is just fascinating because
it's fake.
It just raises so many questions about just pregnancy and people's views on their bodies and other topics.
Now, while I don't think that it harms anybody to do this, it can if it's exploited by somebody.
Well, it also sets false expectations for people that didn't take early fake pregnancy photos. They think, well, why don't I look slim like this, and unwrinkled or whatever, using the terminology from the article.
And other people are going to go, well, I better get pregnant because...
right, I'm going to look like this and I'm going to have these beautiful background settings and all these things, and then that's not a good reason to have a child.
Exactly. Meredith Kyle over at Vice.com put the article together. See, the biggest thing for me, shared it with 5.7 million followers. If it was just cosplay and written up as cosplay, then I really wouldn't care. I mean, it's just playing around. But this is literally, and it says another even admitted to taking fake wedding photos at age 22 despite being signaled, just in case they get wrinkles by 30. The other one wore a fake belly to take maternity photos and enjoyed a pre-made life. But again, it's fake. You're literally lying to 5.7 million people without saying it's just play. You're kind of, they even did it with their best friend. You know, you're living a lie. So why? I can tell you why. It's for the attention and money. It isn't because there was a real reason. Why would you care? It's fake. It's absolutely fake.
Well,
so
and most people that are pregnant probably don't really care what they look like because they might be more focused on, I don't know, being healthy, like we were talking about in the other article.
Yeah, they're being natural. You be natural. That's what it is. So anyway, the trend is causing concern for some Chinese citizens as the country is facing declining marriage and birth rates, and this is actually setting up this false paradigm of being youthful and pregnant. And so other people are, it's almost like marketing, right? Like the Chinese government is facilitating this by, oh, look, I'm really pretty when I'm young and pregnant, as opposed to the necessity.
Well, which contributes to other societal issues, which I know are not really the focus of RealityHacker, but I did want to mention that.
Yeah, being young and pregnant and compromising
well, I was thinking more like ageism and other things. But
all kinds of stuff.
Also body shaming and
Yeah. Others simply see the stunt as ridiculous, with one commenter joking, I will shoot my 70th birthday photos now and then post them on social media later, and it'll make me look so young. Yeah, it's weird. But again, I could see this if they were a photographer and they were setting up the shoot for a particular professional outcome, right? Hey, look, I can take pregnancy photos.
A photo that looks like this or whatever. And even mark it like not a real thing or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But to sit there and go, I'm doing it just in case I get wrinkles at 30 is just, it's...
Oh, this is going to feed into dead internet theory.
Yeah, because basically all of the internet is bullshit. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Again.
Except what you hear in ohmTown.
Well, yeah. Because we're giving it context and I guess wisdom of the ages. I'm older than I act. And I act really old.
But what you don't know is that I'm thinking about the photos in the article.
It is fact that I am older than I act. Anyway, so let's keep on going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Scientists warn, which is another of our shows, but it's tomorrow. So scientists warn synthetic mirror life could pose unprecedented risks. And when I saw this title, I said, I got to do this. And I haven't read anything about it. So researchers are warning of potential risks from the development of synthetic organisms called mirror bacteria, which have reversed molecular chirality. These organisms could invade immune systems, disrupt natural ecosystems, and pose threats to human, animal, plant, and environmental health. Potential risks of mirror bacteria. Researchers have published a new study in the journal Science. So the article is by Milltown Partners over at scitechdaily.com, which sounds like Umbrella Corporation.
Oh, it absolutely does. I was a little astonished at that.
But hey, we're giving credit where credit is due. So it says, although creating mirror bacteria is still at least a decade away, significant progress has been made in recent years. The study warns that these organisms could pose serious risks to human, et cetera, et cetera. The study was conducted by 38 experts from 9 countries specializing in fields such as immunology, plant pathology, ecology, evolutionary biology, ology.
Lots of ologies.
Yeah. Biosecurity, which is a plethora of ologies, and planetary sciences, which are still more ologies. Their findings are accompanied by a comprehensive 300-page technical report providing in-depth analysis, which may or what will be downloading.
Oh, this is interesting, though, just given the amount of collaboration in this. You don't normally see like 9 countries represented in a scientific study.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, right? So while any threat is not imminent, the science paper finds that mirror bacteria may pose serious risks. Immune defenses in humans, animals, plants rely on recognizing specific molecular shapes found in invading bacteria. I'm waiting for mirror viruses now too.
Well, that'll happen based on this.
Yeah. If you can do it there.
I don't mean a bacteria will change into it, but I mean, yeah, right. Exactly. If the possibility's out there.
Yep.
And we're tinkering with it.
Well, we're tinkering with this. We're creating. It's not a natural creation. It's a person.
Until it mutates.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So if these shapes were reflected as they would be in mirror bacteria, recognition would be impaired and many basic immune defenses could fail, potentially leaving organisms vulnerable to infection. We would have to create an antibacterial that...
Like no human safeguards would matter, right?
Right.
If you had like a mirror bacteria outbreak or a mirror virus outbreak.
Right. Yep. So you create it says it right here.
You'll need mirror humans to be able to survive.
The upside down. So analysis also suggests that mirror bacteria in the environment could be able to invade natural predators like phages and protists, which rely heavily on chirally mediated interactions to kill bacteria and limit their populations. So if a phage gets into this mirror bacteria, and so it could pivot to being a mirror phage, and then nothing would stop it.
And I just thought of another button we need.
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Well, essentially, yeah. We're bleep.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of characters because we can't have that splashed on the page. So I think it's a really interesting, and it says this paper marks a starting point for a broader discussion about the risks from mirror bacteria, including participation from the global scientific community, policymakers, research funders, and other stakeholders. Why would we create this to begin with? Somebody will sit there and argue, well, so we know how to stop it.
Research is good research, but it's like we're creating a very
bad
threat.
Bat. Yeah, we're creating the bad bat. All right, let's keep going though. The next article is over in Technology Today. In a fur, surgical robots learned tasks by watching videos and just to demonstrate how this process works here in ohmTown and on the shows, I didn't click this yet. So the way that it works is we get a little snippet from the provider, and then we click on that link. This particular link goes to Washington Post, but I don't have an account with them that I logged into, so it's going to bump me out. But the reason why I chose this one is for this purpose and to just show you robots have been trained to perform surgical tasks with the skill of human doctors, even learning to correct its own mistakes during surgeries.
Sounds like a use of AGI, perhaps?
So it's learning on its own how to correct its own mistakes. Now,
but humans effectively, right? Because the video are teaching the robots to do things probably better than the humans, right?
Yeah. And so then what goes on is the robot learns from itself faster than humans learn.
And then robots, I bet, will be creating the videos for humans or something.
Yeah.
Assuming there are any humans left to do this.
At some point, the hospitals are going to be replacing surgeons with bots.
Right, which might be good for skill, but it's kind of concerning with respect to like decision making. Like, do you need a surgery?
Yep. Okay, this was a bonus. The next article is over in Technology Today. Robots can now walk through muddy and slippery terrain thanks to moose feet. This was actually the article that I chose for the 5. We're going to have 6 today because I wanted to demonstrate how this particular article, that last article, worked. So roboticists at Tallinn University or Caltech University of Technology have developed a new class of bio-inspired feet, which there's a term. We'll just leave it as moose feet. That significantly enhance robot mobility on challenging terrains like mud and wet snow. I was going to say moose knuckle, but anyway, the findings published by Bioinspiration and Biomimetics could expand the capabilities of robots, allowing them to navigate in complex natural terrains, to conduct sensitive environmental monitoring, aid in agriculture, and participate in disaster response. And the beauty of this thing, ironically, is that that pad that it's going to be walking on has the ability to articulate at the pad level and not at the main joint and elbow and shoulder. It will be able to have a level of resistance to grab on. So robot leg look, you okay?
Yeah, this looks a little terrifying.
So, and this is kind of ironic because the sentient AI from the future is saying that there's something worrying about this. But anyway, no, this is actually pretty neat. And this is the type of thing that I think that robots should be doing. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I think that robots should be doing everything. But the problem there is that humans can't make money doing nothing. So what are we going to do? Right?
Right. Yes. I think most tasks could be done by robots.
So Estonian
but that
research
creates another problem.
Yeah, exactly. So where do we go from there? And that's the bigger picture. And every human that I talk to says, well, we'll figure something else out. Really? You name me a job that can't be done by a human, and I'll show you the steps necessary to facilitate taking that human's job and replacing it with a bot and automation.
I mean, a surgeon to me is pretty specialized, highly skilled. There's a lot of big picture principles involved. Like I'm kind of like, if they can do surgery, that's a pretty good indicator. They can go into a lot of things. Maybe not everything, but
I've had people go, well, that's in 20 years. And I'm like, 20 years?
like, look at the news yesterday.
Even if you sit there and you try and bury your head in the sand about the acceleration of all of this, 20 years is before you go to college.
Right, depending on, who you're
For a
talking
lot.
to, but yeah.
Yeah.
Or before you're done with your career or whatever.
It's before you're done with your 4-year degree. Okay. You don't even have a bachelor's yet, which basically means that you haven't really entered the workforce. You're doing barely entry level stuff at 18, 19, 20. And in 20 years, that level is going to be gone. Or so constrained that it's going to be, it's a $15,000 a year paycheck, right? Which you can't live off of. Anyway, Estonian Research Council put the article together. It's over at techexplore.com. And they say muddy, slippery terrains are some of the most difficult to traverse for robots and animals, including humans, says Marja Kruzma, professor of biorobotics and the team lead, which means that most robots cannot access a wide range of highly important terrestrial environments, including wetlands, bogs, coastal marshes, river estuaries, fields, which are abundant in nature, which is kind of like no shit news. Simon Godden, a doctoral candidate at Taltech Center for Biorobotics, combined his observations on his parents' cattle farm in Berry, France, with his knowledge of mechanical engineering and biorobotics, proposing high-tech hooves for robots, which offer major advantages, especially when walking on mud. So it kind of squishes out and articulates because it's like a split. And I can't remember what that's actually called. So we found that moose's hooves behave similarly to a suction cup, like how you manage to stick your fingernail under its surface and break the suction force. Mud acts as a similar manner to a wet bathroom tile, creating suction under the animal's feet, making it difficult to get the leg out. Moving hooves breaks that tension because it's actually cleaved.
I think cloven was the term you were looking for. It's in the article.
Cloven hooves. There you go. So the biggest advantage, however, does not come from the increased surface area, but because of how the cloven hooves break the suction force, that they're basically like that, and they can articulate out. So it's pretty cool. Has the ability to basically walk. Let me click that link. They don't really highlight that all that much, these distanced pictures. I want to see the actual close-up of that.
I agree, but I think they're showing them the environments, or showing people the environments that they can be in, which of course are not normally where you would expect robots.
Yep. And these two, I suspect. That one's a little more difficult. Can't even see the damn surface, right? It sees the surface of the water, but unless it has...
Right, it's in wet sand or something.
Yeah, that one's a trip. Anyway, pretty neat. We'll probably end up seeing that on all of the robots out there that track us down, a la the sentient AI's Terminator body. Do you know if you're...
Thanks for giving me some ideas.
This will get deleted. Anyway, let's move on. So the next article is over in Technology Today. Again, it's one of our other shows. That's tomorrow. Neuroscience breakthrough in vitro neurons exhibit advanced brain-like behavior. Tohoku University scientists created lab-grown neural networks using microfluidic devices mimicking natural brain activity and enabling advanced studies of learning and memory. Again, when you click that link, it'll take you over to SciTech Daily or whatever other sources we gather this information from. Tohoku University put it together, and it's posted over at scitechdaily.com. And so it says a research team at Tohoku University has taken significant step in this direction. It says we could create in vitro neurons that more closely replicate natural brain behavior. As a result, these in vitro models provide only limited insights into how learning occurs in living systems, but the research team took a significant step in that direction. Using microfluidic devices, they engineered biological neuronal networks that, with connectivity patterns resembling those of animal nervous systems. So we used to do this kind of stuff with animals, taking pieces of brain and causing them to fire and seeing how their synapses connect. These networks exhibited complex activity dynamics and demonstrated the ability to be reconfigured through repetitive stimulation. So they basically were recreating synapses. This groundbreaking.
Which, if you're creating that, it's kind of like you have the ability to create much more beyond that, right?
Yeah, memory storage, fake memories, perhaps. Hacking reality at the neuronal level. Groundbreaking discovery.
Fake intentions.
Oof. And we can already inject false memories by making somebody that's susceptible to actually believe what we are injecting in their brain. I've tried. It doesn't really work unless the person is susceptible. Never mind. Anyway, so these groundbreaking discovery offers a promising new tool for studying learning, memory, and underlying mechanisms of neural plasticity, the ability to learn, the ability to retain information. So in certain areas of the brain, information is encoded and stored as neuronal ensembles, or groups of neurons that fire together. Ensembles change based on input signals from the environment, which is considered to be the neural basis of how we learn and remember things. However, studying these processes using animal models is difficult because of its complex nature. So they've created their own so that they can actually see how it is formed.
Which I like, right? It's avoiding animal research, and they can kind of see it in real time, and presumably they can repeat this over and over again. But this does kind of raise the question of, like, how do you create life?
Yeah, specifically how they learn, how we learn as humans and animals, and how memory actually works. Imagine a time in the near future where you're taught something, and then I can actually extract your memory because I know exactly how your neurons fire as an ensemble.
I mean, it sounds very sci-fi, but maybe not.
Strange days kind of stuff, where I can store your memory as synaptic firings digitally and then inject them digitally again into your brain. That would be fascinating.
What was that movie that was about the like they injected the altered memories? Dark City.
Oh, yeah. Ugh. So the researchers demonstrated that networks with smaller microchannels can maintain diverse neuronal ensembles. For example, the in vitro neurons grown in traditional devices tended to only exhibit a single ensemble, while those grown with smaller microchannels showed up to 6 ensembles. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted for January 4th, 2025. Sorry for my lag in talking. My mental processor is starting to fail. This is season 2, the first episode of 2025. We're not really going by that anymore, but we do say that it's the January 4th episode. But it and 2025. So when you go over to YouTube, it's going to be under the Wanted 2025 playlist. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. I created ohmtown so that I could manage my information overload. I've actually been using it personally for more than 10 years. And then I made it available, well, actually closer to 15 years. And then I made it available 4 years ago. today, basically, and made it available to the public. It has 6 main categories, 47 channels right now. I took 3 offline as we rejigger them. And along with the sentient AI from the future, we talk about news. And in Wanted, it's about gadgets and gear. We've got 7 shows, 6 that are weekly and 1 that is daily. And on the weekends, we take RealityHacker, this show called Wanted, and the show after this one called the Continuity Report, which is all about entertainment news. And we bundle them together to create the weekend edition of Non Sequitur News, which is the daily show. Mainly because news is kind of generally weak on the weekends, which is kind of ironic. It's a different weekends. Get it? Weekends. At any rate, we've selected 5 articles. How about the highest rated hardware? Bendable 5K OLEDs, a wall tablet from Apple, possibly, Lego to buy in 2025, and aim this projector. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com, so go over there and become a citizen. See you on the other side. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Thanks for co-hosting with me. Let's get into the 5 articles. First article is over at WarCrafters. Just so that we have full disclosure, we don't grab the images from any page. It gets provided by the source, and we don't include the images even if they provide it. But this is the PC Gamer's highest rated hardware favorites of 2024 plus 5 dishonorable mentions as according to PCGamer.com. Jess Kinghorn put the article together. The deck statement says a wealth of tech breezed past our coveted 90% review score, but plenty also went down in infamy this year. Again, this is over at PCGamer.com, gets aggregated into ohmTown. Just that little snippet. We don't do screen scraping or anything like that. It's all provided by the source. So they say, to paraphrase an absolute belter from Andrew WK, we here at PC Gamer do what we like and like what we do. I agree. I like what I'm doing. I hope you like it too. So they talk about either way, that means it takes a lot for any hardware to nab a review score of 90 or more from PC Gamer, and only 30 different bits of kit managed to do just that. So the 30 hardware hits mean that they've enjoyed 5 or more favorites than last year, though 2024's extra candidates are really something special. So they go through this list, but I won't go through all of them. I'll encourage you to head on over to PC Gamer and check it all out. But let's scroll through these because they don't have them like consolidated. By the way, TP-Link is probably going to get banned from the United States. It already is in many cases. Do they actually talk about it? Not really.
No, unless they do later on in the article.
Interesting. For just one very honorable mention, we would have thought that we'd award a solid 92 to a Wi-Fi router of all things. Well, the TP-Link Archer GE800 doesn't just deliver great performance, but I thought that TP-Link is getting banned.
It's looking like that will happen.
So let's... It just did it again. We're dropping packets. Anyway, it was everything was fine for a little while, and I don't know what's going on, but it's not from us. It's somewhere in between. Anyway, they talk about SteelSeries Arctis Game Buds, the Shure MV7 Plus podcast microphone, ADATA SD810 1 terabyte external SSD, Asus ROG, the Republic of Gamers Zephyrus G16 2024.
That one got a lot of attention, right? Isn't that like the best buy for your buck for gaming?
The 16-inch gaming laptop is a thing of beauty, so much so that they wanted nothing more than to rub their face all over the gorgeous OLED screen and aluminium chassis. Let me correct myself. And Instead, allow them to take a brief tour through the specs. It has an RTX 4070 GPU, nor the AMD. It's not just the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 GPU, nor the AMD Ryzen AI HX 370 CPU, but the spare NVMe slot that makes the storage sickos heart sing. I'm one of those storage sickos. And so on and so forth. So, yeah. We talked about this.
We did.
Then the MSI MPG 321 URX QD OLED. And you know what? I'm willing to bet that we talked about a lot of this. Anyway, this is Wanted. That's what this show is about. Gadgets and gear. And
I think the one with scariest name is Razer Death Adder Hyperspeed.
Yeah, they do that kind of stuff over there at Razer. So exclamation point want will give you all of today's show notes for this show. If you type in bang RH, that'll be RealityHacker, and bang TCR for the continuity report will give you the next show's links. But we've got all of this all set up so that you can just click a link, go over to ohmTown, read the little snippet, and if it piques your curiosity, you can do the next thing. And I'm just going to move on to the next article because I can't go through all of this. This is basically a show all by itself. I mean, 30 products here.
Exactly.
There's so many in here that I want that I'm probably going to be broke by the time the show ends if I were to buy it all. I'm always on board.
That would be interesting to tally up all of those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, $300 for headphones, $100 for gaming light kits. There's at least 2 chairs in this, although this says here it's only 2 stars. Review the Blacklight Kraken gaming chair. It's not just the name that's creaky with questionable build quality too. This is must be one of the fallen, the 5 lowest.
Oh, the lowest. Okay, yeah. I was like, why is this in here?
The Lexip Sasuke Revenge Naruto Shippuden headset. Not very comfortable.
But again, these are the low scoring ones. Yeah.
Uncomfortable to wear, difficult to use, sharp microphone design. Wow. MSI Titan 18. 4, it has a good screen and it says it's spec to the guns. I'm not sure what that really means. That turn of phrase I've never heard before. Anyway, it says it's the loudest laptop that the author had ever heard. Eye-wateringly expensive. 4K results are disappointing. Worrying build quality issues, and a keyboard and trackpad that are awful.
Wow.
Dear God, selling me on it. And then the X-Real Air 2 and Beam, which that's a specialized bit of kit that unless you're really into this, it's not going to make any sense to you. It says, yeah, picture this. Your own private portable cinema experience anytime, any place. It's a compelling fantasy, isn't it? Now with a healthy dose of reality, wires, too many wires, which they've actually, it's really not that bad, but you do have to futz around with a lot of crap, particularly with the X-Real Air 2 and having the Beam. This actually acts as your interface to gain access to other functionality that isn't embedded on the device. These actually just act as a screen, but the X-Real's next iteration, the 1 and the 1 Pro, do away with the Beam, are powered by the USB-C cable. It's one cord. The only problem is that you still need to be hooked up to something. And so while it is spatial computing, it isn't like an Apple Vision or the Meta glasses or anything like that. But you don't have to worry about the puck and all of that kind of stuff either, but you're still connected to something. You're not cord cutting anything. But we'll be getting into that later on in 2025 because I actually have the X-Real 1 Pros coming. And I'll be giving demonstrations talking about that kind of stuff because I'm going to be trying to replace 3 monitors with just the X-Real 1 Pros come March. And then they talk about the Logitech Wave keys, which looks like it wants to be an ergonomic design, but the only way you can get true ergonomic in terms of keyboard is a split keyboard. Yep. So I thought that there were going to be more. It's just actually 5 at the top, and then some other products, and then 5 at the lowest side, not 30. But they have a bigger list here. Let me scroll back up. So they say that those 30 hardware hits mean that they've enjoyed 5 more favorites than last year, and these are the 5. So
they also have a link in there to more favorites up near the top.
Yeah, these are the last year. So go and check it out.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay, let's keep on moving though. I'm always looking for, displays. I really like, and since there's a couple of things that you really need to purchase quality, and beyond the keyboard, which I think that should be a split keyboard, it's your displays. This is interesting because it's a bendable 5K OLED.
I didn't even know 5K was out on the market.
There's 8K. There's actually super high resolution.
That's true, but you only see 4K and 8K.
Yeah, 5K actually. There's an Apple 5K display that is made by LG, but injected into the build process of Apple's product. So it's their LG's screen, but it's an Apple product. So as is tradition, LG is announcing several of its new OLED monitors before CES 2025 kicks off. This is on Monday is CES. The new Ultra Gear GX9 series all feature curved WOLED panels, WebOS, and an anti-glare low reflection coating that make them pleasant to look at wherever your desk is stationed. So let's go over to Engadget. That's where this is sourced from. Ian Carlos Campbell over at Engadget.com put the article together. And they talk about this screen here. My main displays are curved, but they're not 45-inch displays. It's a 45-inch 5K, 2K bendable screen that can move from completely flat to a 900R curve within seconds. You just grab the edges and pull.
That's pretty crazy.
To me, it's just plain nutty. I don't know why you would bother doing that. Because we see in an arc, and so there's no reason why you would have a perfectly flat screen, because if you turn your head, seeing something that's flat at an angle actually has different angle of attack on the graphics. But
historically, a lot of monitors have been flat or relatively flat.
Yeah.
But I agree, like, why not just set this up as a curved monitor?
Yeah, and be done with it. I wanted to see what this thing actually was. I have seen a previous iteration of this, which I thought was really fascinating, but this is a 45-inch screen, which basically means that it replicates, well, depending on how it actually is situated. It says LG Ultra Gear. That's a 39-inch screen. There's a 45 GX950A. That is the 45-inch one. It's 21.9, so it's not ultra wide, but it is a wide screen. 32 is the ultra wide, and so depending on its configuration, it can be quite expansive and short. That's ultra wide. This thing, I don't know why you would actually bother bending it though. And then they go on to a different article, but they don't talk about the price in this, do they?
No, they don't.
I could expect that this thing is like $2,500 or something like that for it to come out.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be inexpensive.
What's really interesting though is that the X-Real 1 Pro that's coming can replicate a massive ultra wide screen. I'll have to check it out and I'll be talking about it again, but I'm hoping that I never have to buy another monitor, because these augmented reality glasses actually allow you to have much more security. They're ultra portable. All you have to do is walk around with whatever device you want to plug them into and a wireless keyboard. And you could sit down in a coffee shop and still interact with other humans, well, with all of humanity around you, without being isolated by VR and without having a complete laptop sitting there. You want to go get a cup of coffee.
Without having swim goggles on.
Yeah. Or having a laptop plugged in. And so the reason why I'm really hot for this kind of stuff is that I'm really interested in security. And I recently took a flight, and sitting in front of me was a doctor. And I knew that because of what I saw on their screen, which I was like astonished. I knew who they were. Actually, no, they weren't doctors. But what I saw was doctor related. So violating HIPAA, and they were an attorney, and it said confidential across it. And meanwhile, the entire back half of the plane could see everything that this numbnuts was displaying.
Right. So something like the X-Reel would eliminate that problem.
Correct. Yeah. You just put these on and you have the epitome of security, and you can do all of your typing and everything without anything being revealed, including using a mouse, because you can use it on Android and Apple and any other mini device, mini mobile computing device, as long as it has video out through USB-C. But in lieu of that, then I want a really high quality screen, and that's what you need to spend money on. And as I said at the beginning of this, you want to spend a lot of money on your screen because you're staring at it, 10, 12 or more hours a day, typically. Like, you're not just working, but you're playing on it. And you want a high quality chair that supports you ergonomically. And then you also want to spend, I'd say, a good deal of money on a split keyboard that is robust enough and technologically innovative, like Hall effect switches and things like that. Because, well, after many, many years, you get repetitive strain injuries and carpal tunnel syndrome and stuff like that, and then surgery. And I actually tell a story about a compatriot of mine that is going back under the knife a second time to repair again the carpal tunnel that they're experiencing, which is, when you work in that field, has a deleterious effect on your career stability, because they have to use their hands all day long.
Right. Yeah, that would be a problem. And I mean, in many fields, but in particular.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. Definitely you want to spend money on a good monitor, but don't go into debt to do it. Get what you can afford, save up, and then get something quality. Eventually, you'll come to that wisdom on your own that spending something just to get the job done isn't necessarily good for you. And you'll keep on spending more and more, iteration after iteration of purchase. All right, let's keep on going, though. The next article is over in the Wanted channel. And again, this is all about gadgets and gear that Mayor Watt wants, or the sentient AI wants, or what we feel that our audience would be interested in. I'm very into home automation and technology in general. Apple's rumored wall tablet could be the jolt that this author, not me, might jolt their smart home needs. Smart home gadgets are growing in popularity, but there's still a long way to go for them to be fully functional.
I don't know about that. I think there's a lot of existing tech.
Yeah, I haven't touched a light switch in I don't know how long, except for places where it's intentionally... the bandwidth just sucks right now. Sorry. So, trying to get my brain back on track. So there are a couple places where I've got a manual light switch, but for the most part, I use motion controllers, motion switches, to turn on lights, turn off lights by voice, dim lights, change things around. I mean, it's pretty brilliant. Turn on TVs and stuff like that. Home automation is pretty much where it's at. And a lot of people go, well, changing the channel isn't that big of a deal. Yeah, well, I mean, we used to get up and manually change channels, but now you've got 250 channels, for crying out loud. You'd be there all day hunting for stuff when you can just tell your TV to change channels. It's kind of brilliant. And even people who eschew technology, once they get a taste of the ease.
Right, they will never go back to like the old school method.
Yeah. So smart home gadgets are growing in popularity. So let's take a look at what pocket-lint.com has to say about it. And Eli Becht. If you need to go get on location, go for it. Sorry about that. Just talking with the sentient AI from the future. So if any company is going to change the author's mind, that's Eli Becht. It's going to be Apple, they say, with a reported upcoming wall control center. Smart homes have always had plenty of issues, whether it's downloading a specific app on their phone or things that just not working correctly, which really is a curse. And it's usually because of patching software and incompatibilities between various devices. Unless you go pure analog, then you're going to have that. But sophistication causes sophisticated problems.
Well, and depending on what you're trying to connect, it's not necessarily the problem with the platform. It might be that the device itself isn't really
100%
updated well or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a ceiling fan from a well-known company. They figured out what their problems were and issued a second generation controller, but you have to buy an entirely new ceiling fan for it. And so you get spotty at best coverage unless you support, unless you just leave it on. And then you can, because it's in constant communication, you have the ability to control it. But you can always update, right? Because, everybody is a millionaire and can just update everything all the time.
Just
right?
Reinstall everything and replace things that are barely used.
So I'm not sure that this thing would ever, while I want something like this, I don't see it actually having a place in the Apple ecosystem, mainly because Apple's ecosystem is the iPad and iPhone, Apple Watch, Apple TV. And so and Apple devices in general, which you can control home through any of the mobile devices. So why would this be a new piece of kit unless there's something so specific?
Yeah, maybe it's somehow tied into whatever, the Apple smart home features specifically, and it's not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea of this, but I agree. An iPad presumably would do this.
Yeah, so according to the Bloomberg article that pocket-lint.com found, the tech giant plans to release a 6-inch wall tablet powered by AI, making it the perfect smart home hub as far as the author is concerned. It's likely to be able to control home appliances, perform video calls, navigate apps using AI, and on the surface, it sounds like it would fit their home perfectly, but so would an iPad mini. It is an iPad mini.
Exactly. And actually, maybe Umtown needs that.
You mean this or an iPad mini?
Like an iPad mini.
Yeah. That can be
Touch
used
screen,
just for
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So it says this device would be a clear competitor to the Amazon Echo or Google Home ecosystems, and it's already a step above Google thanks to the versatile tablet design. Amazon has the Echo Show line, which primarily performs the same type of tasks, so it'll depend. Now, I'm all for another gadget. I want a gadget like this, but for the life of me, I think that you might as well just buy an iPad mini. Because it has the camera, it has the mini doesn't have the M chip yet, but the normal iPad Air and the iPad and iPad Pro do, but the mini does not. Not this year, or I should say not last year. They just released the one that has A15 chip, and it does have some of the features, but it's not the efficiency of the M chip. We'll see. They talk about price. They hope that Apple doesn't get too crazy. And they talk about the Vision Pro, which is so apples and oranges that I don't know why it would be included in this.
Exactly. Well, it's more apple than orange.
Yeah, that's very funny. Very Apple, I suppose. Anyway, they talk about this being part of the HomeKit line, but I think if anything, this is a discussion that they're having at Apple. What is the feasibility of this? If anything, what they're talking about is an iPad mini. This is an iPad mini.
So maybe they'll put out marketing like you need an Apple iPad mini to put on your wall.
Yeah, basically. Because
and
you don't
I actually agree with that. You don't want somebody walking around with the thing controlling everything in the location. If other people need to access it.
I would like to be able to grab it off the wall, though. By the way, all Apple mobile devices, you can make them the hub, and it explicitly tells you to leave this device in your home.
But you might not want to make everybody in control of the hub.
Only I control. Okay, let's move on. The next article is over on the mobile channel. There is so much new Lego that you can buy this January. What's funny about this, and I'm not the one that chose these articles. I selected them from the selection that was provided. So just moments before we did the Time Machine episode, somebody posted a video about an outrageously expensive, in their opinion, Lego kit. So new year, new me, not me. Gizmodo is Gizmodo is where this article was taken from, or provided by, I should say, because we don't take it from them. Like I said in the other show, we don't screen scrape. It's all provided by the sources. So new year, new me, new means of finding shelf space for all this Lego. And the article is by James Whitbrook over at gizmodo.com. I want this, and I don't even know what the hell that is.
It looks like it might be Star Wars. No. Or maybe their creator series.
What is that? What the hell is... Okay, we'll just go through this. So James Whitbrook over at gizmodo.com put the article together. We don't read these articles before the show starts, so our reaction is the authentic reaction to the news that we're getting. But this is wanted, and all I want is all of this. All of these. Everything. There's a slideshow. Lego icon. What the hell? Let me turn that down a little. There's some weird background music. Anyway, January is traditionally one of the biggest months for Lego calendar year in terms of sheer quantity of new sets releasing, whether it's across the brickmaker stalwart lines like City, Creator, Dreams, Monkey Kid? What is Monkey?
I've not heard of that line.
I've never heard of Dreams or Monkey Kid. Creator and City for sure.
Yes.
And more.
Blue and yellow sets.
Wow. Lego Star Wars. Bunch of Lego stuff that's branded to various IP. So let's see here. This says Lego Icons sets. So what is this one? Is this, what is that? Tudor Corner, a $230 Lego Insider accessible now kit. General release is today.
This is a modular city building. It's not a specific.
Oh, really?
Yeah. These are other sets that are available that are listed.
This says that it's adults-focused. Icons series is starting the year strong with some major releases, including the latest modular city building, including inspired by historical British architecture and something to tickle the nostalgia centers of any space fan. With the return of the villainous Blacktron, dun dun dun, and a bunch of other stuff. So, Blacktron Renegade, $100, Fountain Garden. So, what is the average cost? Estimated?
Usually you can get about 100 pieces for $10.
Okay. So the person was talking about the fact that there's a kit out there that basically was $12. Wait. Yeah, $12 per 100.
That's actually about on par.
I mean, with inflation and whatever. And they were kind of,
Exactly. And that's just kind of a general go by. So 12 is not out of the realm of possibility, even pre-inflation.
yeah, and that's what I thought too. But they kind of were like, this is outrageously expensive in their opinion and so on. But my counter argument to that is, if you knew the quality the quality control that's in place, the reason why those bricks fit so well together, friction fit alone, is because the tolerances are so tight that when the process causes their QC to fall out of alignment, they get rid of the blanks and they put new molds in place, and they melt it all down and resurface it or create new ones, and it goes back into production
Well,
again.
and Lego bricks can be saved for years and years. Like you can pass them down generations.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Lincoln Logs of the modern era. But my only problem is they're plastic. And so they're releasing nano and microplastics, which
is interesting because they didn't start out as plastic.
What did they start out as?
But the current iteration, of course, was plastic. I think they made them as wood toys initially and then converted to plastic. And that's when they really took on their current form.
Gotcha. I don't remember that. Wow. So Lego Animal Crossing sets, Lego Creator 3-in-1 sets, which are the ones that I really dig because you can change things. So they got Panda Family, Typewriter with Flowers, Space Robot, Playful Cat. Then Lego DC Superheroes, which basically nobody's ever going to buy. No, just kidding. I'm sorry for all you Marvel fans out there. I'm a Marvel fan, not really into DC. Anyway, Superman Mech versus Lex Luthor, Batman and Batmobile versus Mr. Freeze, and Batman Tumbler versus Two-Face and the Joker, and then Lego Disney sets. The stress is a little stiff. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it can really be flowy, although they do sometimes have like materials for capes and other things in Lego sets.
There's too much starch in that. Twirling Ariel, Moana. It's only $10. Wait, how? How in the world are these? There's like 4 pieces. Look at that.
Because there aren't a lot of pieces in that set.
That's pretty cool though for $10. I mean, come on, Moana's,
particularly since it has a Disney princess.
Yeah. Moana's Island Fun, and Encanto Mini House, Arendelle Frozen Castle. Dude, that's pretty cool. Anna's Sleigh Adventure, Moana's Adventure Canoe, Cinderella, Lego Dreams sets, Z-Blob Robot. This is pretty cool stuff. I like this. Lego Jurassic World sets. So you got little tiny dinosaurs. Little Edie T-Rex. Little Edie? Come on now. Dinosaur fossils. Triceratops skull. Then Lego Marvel. Lego Minecraft. Monkey Kid.
Oh, interesting. That looks kind of like the, I think it was Kaima. They used to have a line that looked kind of like this, where it'd be like animal-inspired
Gotcha.
vehicles, and this looks kind of similar, but that line is discontinued.
Oh, we're gonna have to look into this. Monkey Kid. I'm sure it's Monkey Kid. It's just pronounced Monkey Kid, but I like saying monkey. Anyway, Lego Sonic the Hedgehog. This is all IP that already exists somewhere, and it's just branded into the Lego. Lego Star Wars sets. Lego Mario Kart sets.
I saw Grogu go by.
A Grogu with hover pram. Right there. Yep. Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor, Acclimator class, assault ship. All right. Yeah, there's some more over there. Go and check it out over at Gizmodo. Let's move on. The next article, we're running late. The next article is over in ohmTown again under the Non Sequitur News channel. You can aim this projector by moving its motion sensing remote around. Oh, and if you didn't catch my drift about all of that Lego stuff, I want all of it. Just put it all in one cart and I'll take it.
That would be quite a pricey haul, because most of those had like 4 listed below the one that was featured.
Don't just. So you can aim this projector by moving its motion sensing remote around. I thought this one was interesting because what the hell? You can control a projector by moving a sensor around or a controller around?
Yeah, it sounds fun.
GMGO's N3 Ultra Max projector simplifies setup with a motorized gimbal that handles alignment automatically. Once positioned in a room, you can change where it's projecting using its motion sensing wireless remote. The all-in-one projector will handle the rest of the fine-tuning, including focus, optical zoom, and keystone adjustments to ensure the image is level and perfectly aligned. So even changing the angle of attack from wherever it's pivoted, it's pointing, once you pivot it, it will actually keystone itself so it's square on the wall that it's being projected to, regardless of its angle, at least within its tolerance. So let's take a look at this thing. This thing is pretty cool. The article is over at The Verge, and it's by Andrew Lazuski, and the deck statement says the GM GO N3 Ultra Max uses a motorized gimbal that can be controlled remotely for simpler setup. You just point it at the wall and it scans. Oh, okay, that's cool. They've got a little
oh, that's really neat
animated GIF, and it projects the tracking sensor on there so that it can see the topology of the wall that it's being thrown on, and then it can readjust once it's in place. It says, although the 4K N3 Ultra Max debuted in China last year, GMGO is announcing the new version for the global market at CES that includes improved software, Google TV, native Netflix support. I would never use any of that built-in stuff, though. Plus, I think my firewall would explode. The company
I would not like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even like my smart TVs having native access to the internet, so they always go through a proxy box that I trust and can update software and control to a greater extent. Anyway, pricing details haven't been finalized yet. To increase the projector's range of motion, GMGO relocated its two HDMI and other I/O ports onto the gimbal's base, so the projector itself can actually pivot and rise up and down, go like that, and turn left and right. However, since the base rotates 360 degrees, there's still a risk of tangling or the projector's movements being limited if the cables aren't long enough. And you can actually see that it's in the base, but not like a free flow. It's not connected to a stationary base. It's pivoting on an arm, or I should say on the base, and then holding the projector up is a arm. It's kind of fascinating that they would do that. So down in this part, the base is the HDMI and power. So kind of neat. I think the only way that they could improve on this is to gimbal the projector itself, but leave the base stationary.
Right. Well, that would help with the cables and everything.
Yeah. Which makes it possible to hide everything inside a mount that it's sitting on, like a table. You could just run the cords down through, and then you're done. So I kind of dig this. It says, using a triple laser system, the N3 Ultra Max outputs around 4,000 ISO lumens of brightness, which is great. But GMGO says that the projector's performance hasn't been verified by a third party yet. That's enough brightness to project an image up to 180 inches in size, the company says, and it'll potentially allow the projector to be used in the daytime in a room with ambient light with a smaller image size. So as you project bigger, it dims because there's only so much power that it can project. I want to know how much this thing costs, but if it's anything like cutting edge projectors, you're looking at 4,000, 5,000.
Right. I was going to say about 5,000.
But again, it is a Chinese-made product that is trying to seek appeal in a global market, so it may not be wildly expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah, it really depends on what the company has managed to convert on. Yeah, I mean, it's all about supply chain management, and when it's right in their backyard, the supply chain could be very inexpensive. So At any rate, we're going to project ourselves back to the front page of ohmtown.com and the Wanted page, which houses a lot of the articles that we talk about, but we actually grab articles for Wanted and all of our shows across the spectrum of channels that we aggregate into. So, with that in mind, I am Mayor Watt saying bye, and so will the AI.
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Wanted, and stay tuned for the continuity report.
And things are kind of wonky with me hanging up on everything, so we'll see if this actually decides to disconnect. So see you in a little bit. We're going to reset, and we're going to launch the first show of the Continuity Report's 2025 year right after this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Continuity Report for January 4th, 2025. This is our second season and our first episode of 2025, so welcome to the show. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI from the future, who still will not give me any lottery numbers, we're going to talk about Sci-Fi 2025, the Wicked box office, Grosse Pointe Garden Society, Crime Thrillers with a Typo 2025, and Dune's Curse. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com. Our bandwidth is kind of wonky today. I don't know what's going on. One place says everything's fine. Another place says everything is wonky. We'll see what happens. Go over to ohmtown.com, though. Regardless, become a citizen, and you can help decide what articles we talk about. So go over there. We're also on YouTube and on Twitch, podcast, Discord, Patreon, TikTok, Carrier Pigeon, Superb Owl. Owls have really long legs. You just can't see them. They're like really long legs, like tiny owl long legs.
Like as tall as their body. It's worth Googling.
Yeah, look at it. Owls have legs. Go look it up. Anyway, and you find out about that kind of stuff when you watch all of our shows. I'm not going to tell you which one.
You have to go watch all 1700 plus.
Yeah. We started year 4 of Non Sequitur News, which used to be called ohmtown Daily News Show, but now we just go by Non Sequitur News because we're always all over the place. Continuity Report, though, is one of our 3 weekend shows on Saturday. And then we have 3 new shows, different topics and everything, on Sunday. And each of those 3 shows become either the Saturday or Sunday edition of Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition. All right. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt.
Ready to go?
I am. Although my processing power says otherwise.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. Let's get going. First article is over 10 most anticipated sci-fi shows coming in 2025. Pretty jazzed about this. I'm dropping frames again. I don't understand it. I don't know. We'll have to reboot everything. Maybe. Okay, yes, I'm focusing. Grasshopper.
The fact that there are 10 sci-fi shows already is a good start.
It's pretty exciting. Although, I know of one of these. Okay, we'll just get into it. So the article is by Ben Prothero over at screenrant.com, and they say For All Mankind. And it says here that Apple TV Plus is making the most interesting and exciting sci-fi shows on TV. I agree. For All Mankind imagines an alternative history in which the space race never slowed down and the Russians beat the Americans to the first lunar landing. Each season of For All Mankind leaps forward a decade into the future. If this trend continues, season 5 will take place in the 2010s. The writers have stated that the plan has always been to produce about 7 seasons, so things could get even weirder as the timeline moves into the 2020s and beyond.
The premise sounds interesting.
So it would go into the 2030s. and then stop, barring this thing being an absolute success. But this says this is what season? Season 4 for All Mankind. Season 5 was confirmed. I've not watched a single.
No, and that's actually a lot of seasons for one of these shows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're typical 8 episodes, right? 8 to 10.
But a lot of shows get canceled after, say, 2 seasons or 1 season.
Yeah, or 1. Yeah. Especially when I get invested in it. If I were to put $1 into it as a bet, it would cool it. Anyway, let's get going. Invincible Season 3. I haven't seen any of this, but it's animated. After an electric first season, Invincible took a long time to deliver Season 2. Fans won't have to endure a long wait. Season 3 is coming out in February of 2025. Invincible is based on the comic book series by Robert Kirkman, and its 2 seasons so far have produced a bloodier and even more violent alternative to most other superhero movies and TV shows.
Yikes.
Yep. Blade Runner 2099. Amazon Prime Video release date to be announced. Michelle Yeoh and Hunter Schafer being the biggest names. This suggests that Blade Runner 2099 will focus on a new story within the same universe. This is the sequel, but in a TV format, to Blade Runner 2049, which is the sequel to Blade Runner.
Well, the franchise alone and the actors might be reason to check that out.
So this
I
is
only know Michelle Yeoh. I don't know the other actor listed.
Yeah, I don't know either. Sounds good though. I'm all over Blade Runner. Love the premise of it. Love the world building of it. My understanding is that Blade Runner is in the same universe as Alien.
Oh, that's right. Didn't they share a director?
And the world. There's a company that is in Blade Runner that's also in...
Oh, okay.
So it says, no matter what the show is about, the prospect of returning to the strange dystopia is reason enough for fans to be excited. Then there's Daredevil, Alien Earth, which is an effects episode or show.
It's a show, not a movie. And same thing with Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil, Born Again, Disney Plus, release on March 4th. I swear this is going to flame out. I'm predicting this
because of the Marvel fatigue.
No, because of Daredevil. I don't think that there's enough there. But we'll see. The show has been in development for at least 3 years, but its release date is finally approaching. Born Again will be the continuation of Daredevil with the added bonus that it connects to the rest of the MCU. It's the Buzz Lightyear of the MCU. I just don't see it really connected, but I am not a graphic novel aficionado. Anyway, Alien Earth, the Alien franchise first TV show, has been a long time coming. Ever since Disney acquired the rights to 20th Century Fox in 2019, they've had plans to expand the franchise. Well, here we are. Alien Romulus. Now the next step is Alien Earth, which will be on FX in summer, which I think is a coffin nail. We'll see.
We will see.
This puts this series after Prometheus in the Alien franchise timeline, but just 2 years before the events of the original Alien movie. It's possible that Alien Earth will directly lead into Alien, with the Weyland-Yutani Corporation sending the Nostromo to acquire a xenomorph specimen after seeing its destructive potential on Earth. I don't know how...
That would be neat if they lined it up like that. I'm sorry.
No, nothing to be sorry about. I don't know how on Earth they can have an alien on Earth, because it would be a target-rich environment and a massive world to lose an alien in, right? So the xenomorph can just spit out a bunch, and they don't spit out, but they can birth a bunch of face huggers that are going to go out and turn into xenomorphs themselves and do the same thing, although they're queens and drones apparently. But they transform, they morph into whatever biology, they take the biology of whatever host they have. And so they become kind of more human, but still predatory. They're consumers of life. So pretty wild. So Black Season,
I don't know
season
the
7.
significance of that. I haven't seen any of the franchise.
Oh my gosh, that hurt. Okay, Black Mirror season 7. I've actually watched a couple of the seasons, but I lost track of it. I think it kind of lost its way, but Black Mirror is supposed to be pretty amazing still.
Is that an anthology, or is it something that's a continuing story?
My understanding is it's a continuing story. But after the first 2, like I said, I've lost track of it. But they say after the excruciating 4-year gap between seasons 5 and 6, Black Mirror seems to be back for more regular programming, with season 7 confirmed for 2025. I haven't watched past like maybe 2 episodes of season 2 or something like that. Anyway, Charlie Brooker has stated that season 7 will be a return to the OG Black Mirror. 5 of the new episodes are being kept quiet, but fans can look forward to a sequel, USS Callister, with Jesse Plemons, Kristen Milioti, and the rest of the cast returning. USS Callister is one of the best Black Mirror episodes, so it's a good choice for the anthology show's first sequel. I don't know. I'm starting. Maybe I've got Black Mirror confused.
Well, I wasn't sure if I had it mixed up with another series.
So. Because I think we both saw the very first one, but it's been forever, so I haven't looked back. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back, and we'll play catch up with it. So, The Last of Us season 2, it's on HBO. That's the zombie thing. Supposedly contains some stories related to the main narrative that didn't necessarily play out on screen. Caitlin Dever has been cast as Abby, a key character in season 2, while Catherine O'Hara has been joined the cast as an undisclosed role. Let's see. We'll keep on going. Severance. Severance, if you've never heard of Severance, is an Apple TV Plus show that a person has a life outside of the company and a life inside the company, but once you break a certain barrier within the company, you lose all access to your historical memories and you only live the life within the company. And then when you clock out, you forget everything that has to do with your life inside the company and you regain access to your memories outside the company. It's quite fascinating.
You know, Apple is carrying the day in this list.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even stuff that's on a different platform is still Apple, Disney, that type of a thing. Stranger Things season 5. We've been waiting for the closure of this. This should be the final season of Stranger Things. It's supposed to be coming in 2025, but we'll actually see. It just says release date to be announced. Can't really get into it because you have to go back and
well, the fact that it's only season 5, 9 years after it started, tells us something. I mean, that's been a common theme, I think, in a few of these.
Yeah. I think pandemic pretty much screwed up everything. And then Andor season 2, again, Disney Plus, April 22nd is when it's supposed to kick off. The story will span 4 years as the Rebel Alliance continues to develop, so there's a chance that more characters from Rogue One or other Star Wars movies will make an appearance. It was originally envisioned as a 5-season story, but Disney has confirmed that season 2 will end the show by leading directly into the events of Rogue One. Hopefully less is more. I think that sucks.
Yeah, it is. Andor, well, I don't know. I thought Andor was a good thing because it did kind of stand out in terms of cinematic style, I guess, from some of the other Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, I like it. Unfortunately, season 2 says that it'll end. All right. Let's keep going. Next article is over in the Continuity Report. Wicked movie box office flies past another major milestone despite its digital release. It's passed a major domestic milestone after more than a month in theaters. The 2024 movie, which was directed by John M. Chu, is adapted from the first act of Wizard of Oz prequel stage musical of the same name and follows the friendship between Glinda, Ariana, it's Grande Butera now.
Oh, okay.
And Elphaba, Cynthia Erivo. So this, I found this really fascinating. It's kind of like Dune became part one of of two, maybe three movies.
Right. Is that what happened with Wicked too?
Wicked is one half. It is part one.
Did people know that going into it?
Not.
Oh, I bet that caused an annoyance.
When it first came out, people went in and it ended and said part one. So the Wicked release kicked off the weekend before U.S. Thanksgiving, with its gross quickly rising to make it the highest grossing Broadway musical adaptation of all time, which I don't know if it's saying much because Grease was the other one for North America and Mamma Mia was worldwide.
Oh, okay. But Grease was quite a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're talking about some remake that we missed. Anyway, per Deadline, as of Saturday morning, Wicked is projected to earn a three-day domestic box office total of $10.2 million by the end of its seventh weekend. This will bring its cumulative domestic total to $450.7 million, making it the third movie of 2024 to pass the $450 million domestic milestone behind Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2. It's also the 29th movie to ever pass that domestic box office milestone in history. This is the case even though the movie is already available for purchase and rental on at-home digital platforms as of December 31st, 2024. So, I don't know. It earned back the $300 million budget of both movies combined.
So that's interesting. And I wonder... And I'm sorry, what is the status of its streaming?
I don't know about streaming, but you can purchase it. I don't think it's streaming. It says rental and purchase, but not streaming. It's a different animal.
Correct, but I think that's pretty interesting because it's still doing well at the box office, even though you have these other means to get it. So,
people want to see it on the big screen.
Will this impact future movie releases?
I doubt it. Unless it has some serious hype, and not. It's.
This has a musical star starring in it. Right. People have generally heard of it because it was on Broadway for a long time. It might still be on Broadway.
And for as far as I understand it, Cynthia Erivo apparently crushes it, although she gives me some heebie-jeebie mojo. Because somebody edited she gave me bad energy after she lashed out at somebody making the artwork more apropos to the stage, I guess, whatever the bill, the playbill. The playbill was, they modified the poster to be more like the playbill, I guess, and they got bent out of shape about it. Anyway, it says the outstanding performance of Wicked is likely also good news for the upcoming Wicked for Good. Not only is it the 2025 movie now a sequel to one of the biggest domestic hits ever, it's inextricably linked to it in the story. The 2024 movie begins is not complete until the end of the second movie. So I guess we'll see what happens to the sequel.
So are the studios making the part one and part two to force people to watch the second one, or are they really just getting into longer stories because typically they've done sequels.
I don't know. What say you? What do you think? Is the story so big that you can't distill it down to 2 hours?
Dune, I would say probably yes. Wicked, I think you could probably do a sequel, but I don't know.
Man, there is a lot to Dune.
And I feel like Dune, there's so much intentionality. Like Denis Villeneuve, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name.
Villeneuve.
Like, I can't imagine that was just like a let's get audiences in kind of move. It just doesn't seem like that style.
Dune is just huge. I can see why Wicked, because it's a musical, so it has these long sequences, right?
That's true. So it's perhaps harder to get more storytelling in, although sometimes the musical sequences are a way to make the plot move too.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. The 2025 sequel could gross even higher. I think that it probably... Here's where it's going to play out. People are going to go and see the second part, and those who didn't go see the first part are going to go, well, shit, now it's both here, so let's go see both parts. And that's going to amplify. If they're
smart, they'll do a re-release of the first part in the theaters.
Into the theaters and do a 1-2 punch. So twice as long, 5-hour show. Boom. Yeah. Hey, man. A lot of us have actually done those long, like Lord of the Rings, 12-hour watches because they're so big. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Continuity Report. Grosse Pointe Garden Society trailer with Melissa Fumero starring in a murder mystery show. This isn't Grosse Pointe.
It is not. It's just a city that I think is sometimes selected for various shows.
Interesting. So what happens in Grosse Pointe Garden Society trailer? The video introduces the show's main cast, including Fumero as Birdie, Anna Sophia Robb as Alice, Aja Naomi King, How to Get Away with Murder as Catherine, and Ben Rappaport as Brett. So the article is over at comingsoon.net. And this is Fumero is from Melissa Fumero is from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Right, which is interesting because that's of course comedy. So
she looks very
interesting to see her in
upset
this.
Here.
Yeah,
I feel sad. So it's set to start February 23rd. Where is it supposed to be? Does it say?
I thought it said BBC. Didn't that go by?
Did that?
No, NBC.
Oh, NBC. Oh yeah, NBC
has
released.
The letters.
Yeah, missed it by N much. So NBC has released the Grosse Pointe Garden Society trailer for its newest murder mystery starring Brooklyn Nine-Nine alum Melissa Fumero. So Grosse Pointe Garden Society is written and executive produced by Jenna Bans from Good Girls and Bill Krebs' Ugly Americans, with Maggie Kiley directing. Additional cast members are across the board, a bunch of people. I'm not going to get into all of that, but I want to know more about what it actually is.
Peacock.
We'll have to keep an eye out for this. The characters suddenly find themselves burying a dead body in their neighborhood's exclusive garden. It highlights the challenges they'll face in order to keep their dark secret hidden. I don't know if I want a documentary about how to deal with the complexity of hiding a body in a garden.
Well, and that also doesn't suggest that that's a long-term story either. But I suspect as some of these mystery shows go, it'll lead to other events and
have a murder board all in and of itself. All right. Well, this one is a quick one. Poor thing's all sad, cry. That's what happens when you have to hide a body. So how about in the Continuity Report? That's the next article. 10 highly anticipated crime thrillers releasing in 2025. we can go through all of this really quick, you know? Ariana Alvarado. Again, we're dropping frames again. I don't understand it. Hey, you know what? So The Prosecutor starts on January 10th, 2025. Critical reviews that have come from the Prosecutor's initial release praise the film's gripping crime story and stylish fighting choreography. It's Donnie Yen's The Prosecutor will be available for a wider range of audiences to enjoy in 2025. Directed, produced, and led by famed martial artist, The Prosecutor is just one of many upcoming films starring Yen. The film result... Go ahead.
Is this actually a crossover with John Wick? Or is it just starring the same actor?
The last film Yen starred in was in John Wick Chapter 4. In the film, Yen plays Kane, a blind assassin tasked with killing Keanu Reeves' John Wick.
Sorry, he was an assassin there. Here he's a prosecutor, I guess.
So maybe not crossover. That would
maybe
be an interesting.
It'd be like the wrong side.
So the film revolves around his character, a prosecutor who puts his career at risk to help a wrongfully accused defendant and find the real culprit. This seems short-lived. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera. That starts January 10th, so next week. This is the first Den of Thieves movie was largely reminiscent of acclaimed heist films like The Heat. And though it didn't quite live up to its potential, there is still much anticipation regarding the 2025 sequel. Once enemies, now partners, it'll be exciting to see how Butler and Jackson's on-screen alliance looks. Exclusive images in the trailer for Den of Thieves 2 Pantera appear to be just action-packed and entertaining as its predecessor. I never watched the original Den of Thieves.
Yeah, I have not seen the original.
Alarum, January 17th, 2025. Is that who I think it is?
I think it is.
Led by Sylvester Stallone? That guy? Okay, I suppose. And Scott Eastwood.
Which I wonder if he's related.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Alarum tells the story of spies on the run from agencies hunting them down. Dun, dun, dun. Black Bag. Centering spy films around couples sets up an intriguing concept as stronger ties and loyalties are tested by the job. Such a concept is the premise of Steven Soderbergh's upcoming thriller Black Bag. The film's Woodhouse couple is played by Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender. They're supported by a cast. Black Bag is sure to be nothing short of tense and gritty, according to that author.
Whoa.
A Working Man, which is basically, I think, like, what was the other one? The Beekeeper. I was just about to say The Beekeeper. It's the first freaking line right there. So from The Beekeeper and Fury director, The Working Man is the Beekeeper. It's just, what? Why is this guy in front of somebody aiming a gun?
Well, he'll probably be able to get out of that.
How about Drop? Drop's thrills are likely to be accompanied by an overall eerie tone, setting it apart from other 2025 crime thrillers. The film sees Faye's character, a widowed mother, terrorized by a series of anonymous messages following her first date in years. No thanks. How about The Amateur?
Sounds rather creepy.
The Amateur. Littell's novel is once again being adapted into a film, this time one directed by James Hawes. It's a thrilling 80s spy movie based on Robert Littell's novel of the same name. Everything okay?
Yeah, who also wrote Slow Horses. That's worth a watch.
With Rami Malek as a CIA cryptographer who loses his wife after a terrorist attack.
I missed it. Sorry, I was thinking the author of Slow Horses was the same, but the director is the same.
They're the director, I guess. Oh, well, Hawes' work includes episodes of Penny Dreadful, Black Mirror, and more recently, Slow Horses. Gotcha. But, right? So, Robert Littell's novel of the same name, The Amateur. I don't know, you might read that.
Right. I think most of the ones based on novels are usually stronger writing, but not always.
Yeah, I mean, if the name is extremely or if the book is extremely popular, then everything that follows, as long as they stay true to the work. We found that with, well, many a book, the Reacher series, in particular.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
When it deviates from the source material, it sucks long term, doesn't have legs long term, but when it sticks to it, boy, oh boy.
That's right.
Orenda. The upcoming film of the release of the film certainly isn't as acknowledged as other releases in the United States, but it's still a film worthy of interest. Set on a remote island, Orenda explores darker themes of guilt when the journey of two women crosses paths. One woman arrives in the island to bury her deceased husband, and the other is a priest who left her church after feelings of doubt. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Wow. I mean, I'm surprised that's still going. I mean, it's always a fun franchise, but
It looks like everybody's coming back. Joining the crews in the film are the other Mission Impossible actors. Wow.
that's surprising to me.
Yep. I don't know what they're actually going to do. It says the Final Reckoning's trailer is packed with familiar action sequences and dangerous circumstances audiences are used to seeing Ethan in. However, with the possibility that it's the last installment in the franchise, the safety and happy endings for beloved characters can't be guaranteed. But they don't talk about.
They're going to have like a successor or something to Ethan Hunt if they're going to continue this.
Eventually. Then Ballerina. This is what do you call it?
Like a spin-off of John Wick, I think.
It is a spin-off of John Wick. Parabellum and Chapter 4, Ballerina, acts as a spin-off to the beloved series of films with Ana de Armas leading their a ballerina that is a trained assassin. And
okay.
I think you actually see them in
number 4, I think.
Yeah, when he goes back to his house, not his house, but his family, his consortium. I don't know how they are laid out because
right.
Certain people are recruited into the family. Anyway, Ballerina was originally set to be released in the summer of 2024. However, it was delayed a year and went through multiple reshoots. The film's which does not bode well for success. But I think Ana de Armas actually kind of kicks ass in other shows that she's been in.
True, but is an audience of John Wick necessarily going to buy into this?
Oh, man, she's charismatic. She's got acting chops. I'm pretty sure that she can swing a bat just as hard as John Wick. I don't know, man. I like this. I love the idea of like a ballerina being an assassin.
Oh, yeah. Hitter, I mean, it's fun. And it works.
Yeah. And the John Wick, so unbecoming, like people wouldn't suspect, right? That Ana de Armas would be a cleaner. Now, what I'm really, really interested in is the kinetic energy that John Wick created, the series created in the world building of the Wickiverse. That's what I want to see. I want to see more of the world building. Can't wait for this because John Wick is no more, right? Like he's out of the game. He's supposedly dead.
That's what we think.
He's not going to be in this. He cannot be in Ballerina.
Oh, no, he won't.
Anyway, very interested in this, but that's the end of this article. So go over to Screen Rant and check this out, Ariana Alvarado. There's much more in the articles that we talk about. We kind of summarize it and give our perception of things. I hope that you enjoy the show. But the last article for tonight is Dune Prophecy. It says, continues a 25-year-old Dune franchise curse that started with the books. Dune Prophecy is the latest title in a long line of a franchise curse that began with the Dune novel House Atreides, which I actually love. House Atreides, House Harkonnen. I love it. Those were the last two books that I read, House Atreides, House Harkonnen.
Oh, okay. Out of that series.
Out of the series, yeah. And I actually only read Dune, not Heretics and all of the others, because I didn't like the context of all the rest of it. But I'm really interested in the Duneverse as well. There's a game coming out that's an MMO style game. I'll actually end up playing it, I think, on the stream. So won't go into that. But Frank Herbert wrote the original novel in 1965, changing the landscape of science fiction media forever, for sure. Even serving as an inspiration for Star Wars. The Dune movies have so far been adaptations of Frank Herbert's original work, with the next film being developed based on Dune Messiah. HBO's sequel series, Dune Prophecy, on the other hand, is based primarily on Brian Herbert. Prequel, sorry. The HBO's prequel series, Dune Prophecy, on the other hand, is based primarily on Brian Herbert, the son, and Kevin J. Anderson's 2012 book Sisterhood of Dune, which is apparently based off of notes from Frank Herbert.
Right. I mean, who knows? It's hard to know if it attached to the original plot, right? Because he wasn't there to see it through.
Yep. Charles Papadopoulos over at ScreenRant.com put the article together. And I'm really curious what the curse is, right? The series has been met with much stellar reception in 2024's Dune Part 2 with a mediocre 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's worth breaking down why. So do they say what the curse is right away?
I don't think Screen Rant normally does. They kind of dribble the information out.
Gotcha. So the Dune Prophecy is set 10,000 years before the movies in Dune's timeline. So much earlier in the Bene Gesserit construction. I don't know if... Well, the timeline for Dune is massive. It's like, I think it spans 24,000 years.
Oh, it's like that other series. The three body problem or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one. And then oh God, where they have the morning, day, and
yeah, it's Foundation, I think.
Foundation. It has this massive timeline too. Okay, so the non-Frank Herbert Dunes weren't as good as the originals. That's kind of no shit news, because you've got the sun and notes. So you don't even have the energy. You don't have the personality of the character. You don't have the spirit of Dune. You only have the ghost of Dune.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I love the world building. Like I read House Carino. Sorry, I read House Carino and House Atreides. I have the Machine Crusade, but I haven't read it. Balerian Jihad, I've read. I've actually read more of these than I thought. Dear God, it's been so long. Anyway. The main issue is that they exist in the shadow of a masterpiece, and they primarily lack the thematic depth and nuance that makes the 1965 novel so legendary. But it's like Lord of the Rings and like the Silmarillion and all of this stuff. As you deviate away from the core timeline and all of that, and you get into the minutiae and all of the accoutrement of the thing, unless you have the energy of that author, it loses it. You know, you're just further and further away from that sun, and it gets colder and colder as you go away from it. So Dune Prophecy cannot compete with Denis Villeneuve's Dune movies. I would probably agree with that, because the Denis Villeneuve movies are massive in scale. So unless they have the same budget, you're not gonna, and charisma that the characters have, you're not going to be able to compete. So I agree. Not only have Denis Villeneuve's movies already told what arguably is the best story in the Dune universe, but they've also done so with respectable quality and visual beauty that anything less is painfully noticeable. Dune Prophecy is shot well and matches the films in many aspects, but the production value of their production value, but it's not nearly as cinematic and doesn't generate excitement. I want more of the Denis the new scope and world building. I want to go to X. I want to see more about the navigators' worlds, like what they do. I want to know more. But I don't think we're ever going to get any of that.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like such a tremendous undertaking too. And I feel like the audiences that maybe aren't familiar with the books are attached to the characters in Dune, which is good, except to go in any of these other directions, you're going to lose all that.
Yeah. And the other books don't even have those characters anymore, right? Because the scale is
Right,
so
or the
long.
timeline or whatever, exactly.
Yeah.
But then it's like what you're building up with the audience, you can't, it might have, I don't know how they could have done it differently.
Yeah. So if the Dune saga hopes to continue after Messiah without Denis Villeneuve on board, there are going to be some challenges for the franchise to take over. Not to mention the absence of Timothée Chalamet's Paul Atreides could immediately damage the box office results, limiting the resources Warner Brothers would be willing to expend on Children of Dune and the subsequent sequels. Dune Prophecy has highlighted potential long-term issues for this franchise. Yeah. That's all
That's
they're
interesting.
really
We
about.
hadn't read ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can see the writing on the wall without reading all of the tea leaves within the books. But the time scale just doesn't allow for continuity of the charisma
I
on
mean,
the
Frank
screen.
Herbert, why weren't you thinking ahead decades to the movies?
Yeah. Now it's my turn to throw error messages. All right, folks. Well, we're going to go and get our... No, I can't say that. I was going to say our spice supply out and start hallucinating. But
I thought we were going to ride some sandworms.
oh, we can ride some sandworms. Back to the front page of the continuity report at ohmtown.com. Very good. Wow. It's usually this is usually
Did I get back
my
some Dune cred?
a stupendous amount of Dune cred. I was gonna say something about the sandworm popcorn bucket, but we'll just leave that alone. Anyway, I am gonna fold space and see the many machines on Ix. I love the idea of Ix. It's such a creepy. There's no aliens, by the way. Everybody you see in the Duneverse are humans. Even the creatures, the creepy creatures that you see.
Which is interesting, because I think if somebody wasn't familiar with the books, they would say otherwise.
Yeah, there's no aliens. Even like all of the other like houses and stuff like that, they're so divergent from what humans see as humans that like even the Harkonnens are a weird variation. You'd think that they're aliens, but they're humans who evolved after 24,000 years of timeline. And that's just, I mean, we've only seen like just Atreides, Carino, we haven't really seen. Harkonnen. My God, there's so much more. Anyway, I'm Merwat. I'm saying bye. So will the AI.
I thought you almost called me a sandworm. Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for the continuity report. Don't forget to subscribe.
A sentient Bene Gesserit AI. Bye, everybody. Help. Get out of my mind.